our beloved country. Your dedication to keeping the peace reflects our conviction that progress must be grounded in unity and national solidarity. Mr. Speaker, and the honorable members of the legislature, we're here today in keeping with Article 58 of the Liberian Constitution, which mandates the President to deliver an annual message outlining the legislative agenda, report on the state of the economy and the general affairs of the Republic. A year ago, we addressed the citizens of this Republic through you, following an epoch-defining transition that captivated the democratic world. At that time, we stood within the revered walls of the Capitol building, an enduring symbol of our democracy bestowed upon us by our forebears. Now, a year after the historic transition, we face the moment of truth that our democracy can be threatened by those who oppose the steady progress. However, the fact that we are reporting on our stewardship here today on the grounds of the People's House recently damaged by fire highlights the resilience of the Liberian people. I assure you that the security of the state and the sanctity of our republic, though may be assailed, may be threatened, however, it can never be broken. It will be preserved. No one's personal ambition can ever outweigh the importance of our peace and security. This rescue train is moving, and all those harboring mental reservations to hop on the boat and let us proceed with the business of the Liberian people together. Compatriots, when we assume leadership, we did so with a clear agenda, fully aware that the journey ahead will not be easy. We started with a 100-day plan to implement immediate measures aimed at addressing the people's needs and aspirations, providing relief from years of hardship and uncertainty. Even with limited resources, we made real progress in many areas after the first quarter. We improved public sector accountability and worked on the road infrastructure while addressing issues in agriculture, health, education, technology, drug abuse, alongside key legislation. We recognize the immense challenges that lie before us, and though many problems persist, our country stands in a better place today than when we first began. I have dedicated countless hours to the welfare of the Liberian people, and with your unwavering support, we remain optimistic about the future of our promised nation. It is our faith in that promise that drives our vision for progress. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, Madam Pro Tem, and esteemed members of the 55th Legislature, as we come to fulfill our constitutional duty, I commend each of you for your hard work, particularly in passing 11 legislations, one joint resolution. The passage of the Act authorizing government to spend $41.3 million in February 2024, pending the approval of the budget, demonstrates your commitment to addressing urgent needs and funding development across all sectors. However, we must act swiftly On the outstanding proposals before us, the Presidential Transition Bill, the National Tourism Bill, and the Local Government Bill, among others. We also urge prompt attention to bank financial institutions and bank financial holding companies Act of 2024 and the new zoning law that will impact national budget, 6 financing agreements to support economic growth, and 2 bills aimed at improving education and tax system. To empower young people and equip them with the skills necessary to meet national needs, we propose the Liberia Youth Services Program, LISEC, and the Technical and Vocational Education Training TVET Commission Act of 2024. Looking ahead, I will be submitting new legislative proposals, including the Amended Payment System Act, the Liberia Insurance Regulatory Commission Act, and the Reverse Code of Conduct for Public Officials. Additionally, we will propose reforms in the state-owned enterprises through the establishment of State-Owned Enterprise Authority of Liberia, SEAL. These proposals are designed to improve governance, foster growth, promote transparency, and empower our citizens, paving the way for a better future for all. Delays in acting for inclusive development, AAID. In the year under review, we also issued 14 executive orders addressing the urgent needs of the government, including those establishing the Office of the War and Economic Crime Corps and National Railway Authority. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, Madam Pro Tem, and members of the 5th Legislature, Article 3 of our Constitution describes our government as a republic with 3 separate and coordinated branches. We must strengthen cooperation and dialogue across all branches of government with transparency and mutual respect. We must work together as partners in governance, united by our common goal of improving the lives of the Liberian people. We must therefore remain focused on the shared goal of progress and prosperity for the Republic. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, Madam President Pro Tem, esteemed members of the Legislature, allow me to give you some perspective to further understand where we are today. We inherited an economy in steep decline, with Liberians facing unprecedented hardship, including rising unemployment, inflation, and growing inequality. Before our administration, growth slowed to just 4.6%, while inflation surged to a double digit of 10.1%, driven largely by rising food and fuel prices. The current account debt at the time had worsened to 26.4% of the GDP. International reserves were dangerously low, just about 2.1 months of import cover, and debt burden had ballooned to 2.5 billion, the 54.6% of the GDP. Civil servants were facing extreme hardship due to pay harmonization and delayed salary payments, leaving them vulnerable to payday lenders and informal financial schemes like Susu clubs. We simply did not just recognize these challenges and their impact on our citizens. We took decisive action to increase salaries of health workers, the police, and the teachers. We have taken steps necessary to restore economic stability and have made good progress. In 2024, our economy demonstrated resilience and steady growth with a revised real GDP growth of 5.1%. Key sectors driving the growth include mining, agriculture, fisheries, and services, strategic investment in infrastructure and energy development, supported by international partners such as the World Bank, African Development Bank, the European Union, USAID, further bolstered this expansion. We have managed inflation prudently, reducing it to 7.7% by the end of 2024, down from 10.1% in 2023, thanks to the sound fiscal and monetary policy. We expect inflation to decrease further to 6% in 2025. The country's international reserve have improved to $458.9 million, and the Liberian dollar has appreciated by 4.7% against the US dollar. The General Bank has reduced the monetary policy rate from 20% to 17%, boosting confidence in the financial system. As a result, private sector credit had increased by 9.1%. Efforts to strengthen the financial governance are underway, focusing on reducing operational costs and addressing audit recommendations. Our participation in the IMF Extended Credit Facility as ECF program will help rebuild reserve, strengthen fiscal policy, and enhance domestic revenue through improved tax collection and streamlined exemptions. We have also made progress in modernizing financial systems, improving access to finance from micro, small, medium enterprises, and increasing financial inclusion, which now covers 52% of the audit population. Implementing the National Electronic Payment System and transition to cashless economy further demonstrate our commitment to a stable, inclusive, and resilient economy. The insurance sector is also being strengthened with reforms underway to establish an independent insurance commission. The establishment of a special economic zone will further diversify the economy, promote job creation, and foster inclusive development. Honorable legislators, over the past year, my administration has focused on transforming Liberia's investment climate. We are implementing policy changes to attract investment, including simplifying regulations, reducing red tape, and strengthening legal framework, while ensuring social protection and local empowerment. We have engaged both domestic and international investors, showcasing Liberia as a land of untapped opportunities. While some key agreements are still pending, I am pleased to report that we are actively negotiating with major multinational companies in energy, mining, agriculture, infrastructure, and technology. Once finalized, these negotiations are expected to bring over $3 billion in investment to our economy. Looking ahead, we anticipate a promising medium-term outlook with expected growth rate of 5.8% in 2025. The 2025 national budget in the amount of $880.7 million before the start of the fiscal year. The first time this has happened in the post-conflict period. Passage of the budget before the start of the fiscal year will also make the execution of the national budget more predictable and efficient. For many years, the government neglected to remit county development and social development funds to the counties, depriving citizens of essential resources for local government and development. However, reversing this trend by ensuring that these funds allocations for 2024 were fully disbursed to the counties. Also, for the first time in years, the government remitted to the road fund all road fund related revenue deposited in consolidated fund for enabling the implementation of several road rehabilitation and maintenance work during the year. The government arrests gender for inclusive development AAID together with the county development agendas will help propel these efforts forward. Fellow citizens, while we have yet to reach optimal levels, our ongoing efforts will improve the livelihood of all Liberians. Despite global trends affecting community supply and prices, we have seen consistent declines in the cost of essential commodities, including rice and petroleum products. The price of 25 kg IR64 parboiled rice was reduced within the first 2 months of our leadership. In addition, we successfully implemented the measure to reduce pump prices, lowering the price of premium motor spirit EMS by 12.53% from $4.47 in January to $3.91 in December 2024. In fiscal year 2024, in the face of global challenges, Liberia made remarkable progress in domestic revenue mobilization. We collected 734,077 million in revenue, out of which domestic revenue collection stood at an impressive 695.3 million, a 12% growth over the previous year. This achievement marks the highest domestic revenue collection in our nation. On the expenditure side, we spent a total of 661.4 million to execute the government function and projects. To strengthen progress, we have implemented needed tax reforms, introducing the value-added tax that in April 2024 will replace the outdated goods and services tax GST. We are also investing in digital tax administration and building state-of-the-art customs inspection facility at the Freeport of Monrovia to increase efficiency and expand our tax base. These interventions and reforms align with the regional standard, improve tax compliance, and are expected to create a more stable revenue stream for the future. The Rabas International Airport, a vital gateway to Liberia and a potential driver of economic development, has faced operational challenges. However, under this administration, we have charted a new course, making significant strides to unlock its promise as a regional hub. To enhance safety and operations at the airport, we have invested additional fire trucks, backup generators, and navigational aids. Ongoing engagement with developers are focused on expanding the airport and improving its infrastructure management. These initiatives still instill confidence among global airline operators and travelers, reflecting our commitment to positioning Liberia as an attractive destination for global business travel. Recently, we welcomed Ethiopian Airlines, which connects Liberia to over 150 global destinations and reduce air travel costs at key markets, including the USA, Europe, and Dubai. We are also in advanced discussion with carriers like Qatar Airways to establish our air service agreement. My government has worked tirelessly to rebuild trust with international financial institutions and donor community. In 2024, we secured $210 million financing package from the IMF Extended Credit Facility, ECF, to address macroeconomic imbalances and improve debt sustainability from 2024 to 2027. Our inclusion in the ECF has unlocked support from both multinational and bilateral partners. The World Bank provided $60 million in support, $40 million of which was budget support, and the balance $20 million went to Special Disaster Fund for Liberia to be administered by Liberia. The World Bank has also pledged $40 million in the budget support for this year in 2026. We secured a $60 million grant from the European Union for 2025 to 2027, while the African Development Bank provided $40 million for road projects. During the period under review, Liberia also received $398.2 million in off-budget official development assistance for critical sectors such as health, agriculture, and infrastructure. I am pleased to inform you that bilateral relations have secured a commitment from government of the United States for the Millennium Challenge Corporation MCC contract eligibility. This is a significant achievement as it potentially exposes Liberia to substantial financial support in its development when completed in a couple of years. This milestone reflects confidence in the step we've taken as a country, particularly in promoting transparency, making sound economic decisions, and strengthening governance. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, members of the legislature, ladies and gentlemen, Liberia's development challenges are historical, yet our current national circumstances dictate urgent action. Upon coming to office, my government immediately began forming a new national development plan and counter development agenda CDA for the next 5 years. I am pleased to report that the plan and the 15-county agenda have been meticulously developed and validated by stakeholders across the country. They received strong endorsement from the Cabinet, the National Steering Committee, and our international partners, leading to a successful launch on January 15, 2025. This initiative, known as the Arrest Agenda for Inclusive Development, AID, is built on foundations of the pro-poor agenda, prosperity, and the development, and the agenda for transformation. The AID is a set to cap Vision 2023, Liberia's ambitious goal of becoming a more capable and developmental state, ultimately achieving lower middle income status. The Arrest Agenda aims to drive economic transformation from diversification focusing on agriculture, rural development, and infrastructure. It emphasizes the rule of law, improved governance, and anti-corruption. The agenda also seeks to invest in human capital by transforming the education system, fostering technology and innovation, prioritizing public health and sanitation, promoting tourism and environmental sustainability. The total estimated cost of the transformative development plan is $8.4 billion. Our total 60% of the funding will come from the government and international donors, with the remaining from private sector investment. The success of AID and the counter-development agendas will also depend on the active participation of our youth. We are dedicated to making available what they need, including the opportunities necessary to unlock their full potential. Mr. Vice President, Speaker, Madam President Pro Tem, esteemed members of the Legislature, Associate Justices of the Supreme Court and fellow Liberians. When we took office a year ago, we were given the mandate by the Liberian people to steer the nation toward progress and development. It is often said Liberia's challenges stem from the state of its own institution, and that our country's crisis is fundamentally a crisis of governance. We cannot speak about the state of the Republic only in terms of material conditions of the people, the so-called bread and butter issues. We must go beyond policy to address the deeper social and political dynamics that affect us, the undercurrent issues that run deep in our country and society, including addressing historical social privileges that tend to divide us and create tension. We are one people with a common destiny as a nation, and therefore all privileges based on political, economic, social, and cultural lines, and our stereotypes and adversarial to the values of an equitable society. This means divisions based on religion, social status, literacy and illiteracy, gender and policy must not be allowed to divide us and determine how we live as a people. In this regard, I call on our friends on the other side of the political divide, including the opposition parties, join us in fostering government of inclusion. Our democracy should not be defined by elections where the winner is perceived to have taken all. Instead, our path should not be on the next election, but the next generation. We must embrace genuine unity and reconciliation. Today, I'm pleased and proud to report that the changes we inherited, we have made meaningful progress in sectors. Liberia has immense potential for large-scale agriculture that will create jobs, feed our people, and strengthen our economy. However, this vital sector has not received the attention it deserves. Over the past year, we have taken significant steps to advance agriculture and enhance self-sufficiency. To help reduce our reliance on rice import, we cultivate over 4,000 hectares of rice. This year, we aim to double our efforts by cultivating an additional 6,000 hectares. We are constructing 5 mechanization centers in Bangalofa, Magili, Montserrat, Niba County to enable farmers to access essential machinery for improved production. Progress is underway in mechanizing cassava cultivation aimed at both consumption and starch production. We have directed substantial support towards cocoa and oil palm production, resulting in 10,000 hectares of cocoa cultivation and investment in palm oil agro-business. We are also in the process of establishing a palm vegetable oil refining to meet men's commercial production. My administration has increased agriculture budget by over 200% compared to the previous year. Our National Agriculture Plan highlights the value chain with dedicated funding to enhance agribusiness and create jobs. To combat food insecurity and support vulnerable populations, we have funded a comprehensive food security and nutrition survey to assess food security in our communities. To foster innovation and growth in the agriculture sector, we successfully hosted the National Agriculture Fair in Kakata, which now will be reactivated as an annual event with the next one scheduled in Nimba County 2025. Mr. Vice President, Speaker, members of the legislature, ladies and gentlemen, the top priority for my administration is the development of our road infrastructure, essential for convenient travel, sense of service, and boosting the commerce. The poor state of our roads has long contributed to rural neglect and stunted our development. It is unacceptable that out of 13,000 kilometers of proposed road network, only 1,000 kilometers are paved. Improving road connectivity is the cornerstone of our development agenda. In the past year, we delivered on our promise to recondition and maintain major road corridors within the first 100 days. We have continued to maintain 783 kilometers of major road nationwide, making key routes such as Buraville to Bopolu, Wanyama to Foya, Foya to Medicoma, and Red Route, the coverage can pass, resulting in reduced commodity prices. Since January 2024, we expanded the RIA road project from 8 to 20 kilometers of paved road. The Sanikuri to Lugatu Road project is now 85% complete, with 42 kilometers paved, while the Sakripe to Tabata Road project has reached 50% completion. With financing from the World Bank Rural Economic Transformation Project RETRAP, we completed the biodiversity study on the Tabata to Zedru corridor, including Toll Town to Zedru. We have also secured financing and finance design for key corridors, including Zedru to Davistown, Putukan to Kerpo, and Barclayville to Southtown to Clinton. In addition, we are happy to announce that paving the to Medina to Rabosport Road will commence in March this year. To enhance safety and vibrancy in Monrovia, we have expanded public spaces by creating alleys, clearing drainage ditches, and installing solar streetlights. In the first quarter of 2025, we anticipate progress in the Tubman Boulevard Overseas Bridge project. Looking ahead, we plan new bridge works and civil construction on major corridors, ensuring further connectivity infrastructure development across Liberia. Our natural resources should be the source of inclusive development. We have taken decided actions to combat illicit mining, address environmental degradation, and rebuild public confidence. Honorable Speaker, distinguished members of the 55th Legislature, I am pleased to report that we have received a mineral resource survey report from the government of the People's Republic of China. The report provides new insights in Liberia's mineral resource potential and represents the most comprehensive scientific investigation conducted in over 5 decades. We extend our gratitude to the People's Republic of China for funding this important project. The Ministry of Mines and Energy has already analyzed the data and surveyed, and results indicate a significant shift away from the country's previous sole focus on iron ore, diamond, and gold. We have discovered lithium, neodymium, silver, nickel, zinc, uranium, chromium, lead, tin, cobalt, niobium, coltan, thallium, manganese, copper, europium, and molybdenum, among others. I have instructed the Ministry of Justice to act lawfully and promptly to address claims concerning the Mount Blair iron ore deposit in Nimba County. The Liberia Electricity Corporation has been returned to its statutory structure. The corporation successfully negotiated additional electricity import over the Goa and reduced electricity tariffs from Bong and Nimba County. Construction of the 30 megawatt solar power plant in Harrisburg, Montreal County began in 2024. The project is expected to be completed by October 2025. Our plan is to electrify 100,000 households every year using both the grid and the renewable energy source. Our goal is to achieve a 75% access rate by 2030 and eliminate the existing urban-rural disparity. We believe that energy access is essential to unlocking potentials in agriculture, road, education, healthcare, and tourism. We are encouraged by significant oil and gas discoveries in neighboring Côte d'Ivoire 2021, 2023, 2024, where substantial deposits were found in geological formations similar to those in Liberia and the Upper Basin. Seismic data from our basin have been licensed to major players like Total Energy, Petrobras, and the mid-tier companies such as Murphy. The interest from these global energy giants boosts our optimism for oil and gas exploration in Liberia. Also, Liberia is collaborating with its neighboring country to complete the Africa Atlantic gas pipeline. My government is committed to facilitating its passage through our territory, integrating Liberia's energy infrastructure with renewable sources to meet domestic export needs, and advancing clear energy solutions for our country. Mr. Vice President, Speaker, members of the Legislature, in today's globalized world, advancement in telecommunication and digitization offer endless opportunities for social and economic benefit. Recognizing this, my government is committed to expanding access to affordable, quality digital infrastructure and telecommunication services to drive economic growth. During the past year, the government made significant progress in reforming Liberia's telecom sector. For the first time, we have implemented regulation that provide clarity and transparency for mobile network services, including mobile money and value-added innovation. We are also at the verge of enabling interconnectivity between mobile money providers, allowing citizens to transfer funds across the network. These measures promote fair competition and enhance consumer protection. Last year, we launched a digital transformation initiative focused on digital literacy program to train young Liberians in various skills. I am pleased to announce that we have trained over 10,000 young people across 15 counties and empowered 50 teams with seed funding to start digital business. We also empowered 4-year degree scholarship to 15 participants, each representing the county. In the next 5 years, the private sector plans to invest $300 million in telecom sector to enhance services and foster innovation as part of Liberia's digital transformation agenda. 2 operators have been licensed for cross-border connectivity, roaming agreements with Sierra Leone, Gambia, Ghana, which will lower telecommunications costs for travelers. Additionally, the recently approved satellite services to provide universal internet access to rural and underserved communities, protecting them from disruptions by previous cable failure that caused significant economic loss. Mr. Vice President, honorable members of the legislature, we cannot reach our ambitious development goals without properly preparing our citizens, especially the youth, through access to quality education. Liberia's once celebrated for its educational system has seen standards decline, depriving many of a fundamental right. Education is not a privilege. In 2024, we inherited an educational sector faced with significant challenges. 2 million in scholarship arrears, poor qualified teachers, and inadequate infrastructure. Many public schools are deteriorated, with several projects delayed or abandoned. To address these issues, we committed $1 million to clear scholarship arrears, including West Africa's senior examination cost SEC, with over $500,000 already paid. We have served 14 counties, validated teaching workforce that transitioning qualified volunteer teachers into our system. We launched $75 million fundamental learning project with USAID, focusing on reading and math for third graders, and equipped 156 public schools with digital learning platforms and solar power. New policies such as the National School Quality Standards and the Center for Excellence will ensure high educational standards. At the primary level, we are launching the One Child, One Chair initiative to address the shortage of chairs for school children nationwide. At the tertiary level, we have assessed the need for renovating the University of Liberia facility and initiated transformational leadership efforts to build the university endowment, enhancing its Center for Academic Excellence in the coming year. We have taken deliberate steps to combat hunger and food insecurity in schools by allocating $1 million United States dollars to the school feeding program for primary schools. Our government interventions and investment in the education sector in the coming year will enhance education delivery, giving our children the opportunity they deserve for a brighter future. Mr. Vice President, honorable members of the legislature, health and sanitation are central to my administration's priority, becoming a key part of the arrest agenda. In the first annual message, we committed to addressing both historical and emerging challenges in the health sector, assuring access to quality health care for all of our people. Despite significant hurdles, we have made notable progress. Today, we are pleased to report that public health centers in all 15 counties have received essential medicine, and community pharmacy initiative is being piloted nationwide. Maternal and child mortality rates have decreased, with child vaccination rates rising from 64.9% to 73% in 2024. We have also seen improvements in the tuberculosis treatment success rate. However, drug and substance abuse remains an epidemic. As a result of the danger and a wide-ranging impact on our society, we declared drug substance abuse as a health emergency and a threat to national security. To date, we have made steady progress in raising awareness and preventing drug abuse. To demonstrate our commitment, my Vice President and I led the example and by undertaking drug tests. Several at-risk youth have completed rehabilitation, reintegrated into our society. Notably, we acquired 50 acres in Bensonville, Monterey County, where pre-construction activities have begun for a new psychiatric hospital to build mental health and substance use. A regional diagnostic center is under development in Balatua County with 38.7 acres secured and pre-construction underway. This center will enhance diagnostic services, particularly in rural Liberia. We intend to establish 3 additional regional diagnosis centers across the country. We are advancing several health infrastructure projects, including 8 of the 15 staff housing in Zredru nearing completion. There are 23 ongoing infrastructure projects, such as construction and renovation of hospital health centers in Zredru, Barclayville, and other parts of the country. In addition, 6 oxygen plants have been commissioned in Montserrat at JFK, Lofa, Nimba, Grand Ida, and Grand Cru. We are pleased to announce that with the support of the Chinese government, we have broken ground for the construction of a 16 million national clinical and diagnostic laboratory at number 14 hospital, military hospital in Margate County. On sustainable health financing, we are making progress with the National Security Health Insurance Scheme and the bill to create a National Health Equity Fund for universal health coverage will soon be submitted for your consideration. As part of the groundbreaking health initiative, we are addressing the cardiovascular issues in Liberia. In collaboration with the University of Ghana Medical Center, UGMC, we are establishing the state-of-the-art cardiothoracic JFK. The partnership emphasizes cross-training medical professionals equipped in advanced facilities and performing life-saving surgeries. A notable success in the open heart surgery performed on 64-year Mr. Fokwa Cover at the UGMC, with all expenses covered by my administration. By the grace of God, Mr. Cover is here today to share the moment of triumph. Mr. Cover, please stand to be acknowledged. I don't know where Fokwa. Thank you. By mid-2025, our goal is to perform some of these critical surgeries local at JFK, significantly improving access to cardiac care for all Liberians. Poor sanitation, inadequate clean water supply, and aging infrastructure, especially in Monrovia and other cities, have long posed challenges. 42% of our population still lacks basic toilet facilities. Addressing these public health concerns is a key priority in our development agenda, and significant progress has been made in the past year. We successfully repaired the 1 million gallon city reservoir in central Monrovia with support from the World Bank, restoring water supply for the first time in 10 years. Improvements include new chlorine dosing unit at the White Plains Water Treatment Plant, rehabilitation of a cardware booster to enhance supply in multiple areas, and expansion of water system in Bushrock Island, Rock Hill, Soul Clinic, and New Georgia. We are replacing the 36-inch pipe on the main transmission line from White Plains to Monrovia with a 48-inch pipe. A new water system is under construction in Buffalo City, set for dedication in February. We plan to connect an additional 3,000 homes in Monrovia and Plainsville this year. With USAID support, we are conducting the feasibility of rehabilitating the Kakata-Buchanan water system. This year, we will construct water system for people in Greenville, the rehabilitation graduate system. Additionally, over 1,700 new and reconnected customers have benefited from ongoing sewage improvement. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, Madam President, esteemed members, the legislature, associate justices of the Supreme Court, fellow Liberians. Our country is fortunate to have many qualified, capable women who have challenged traditional jobs. Gender sensitivity, inclusion, and high priority in my administration. Currently, women hold 9% of the ministerial position, where women make up 40% of all appointments. While we celebrate these achievements, we must also address the serious issue facing children and battered women in our country. In 2024, our government made significant strides in promoting women's empowerment and protecting children. We launched a national 116 EBV cell call centers, which provide confidential 24/7 platform for survivors of gender-based violence to report incidents and access vital services, including counseling and legal assistance. We
You
also
are tuned in live. It's the show
allocated
you just
approximately
can't
$8 million
miss. One on one
international.
with Ernest Gibson, CEO of Hartview News Network, bringing you the truth, independent and balanced analysis. We are proud to be the voice of the voiceless. Hartview News Network, where news is our game. Accurate coverage. We are rising to the theme. Live discussion on issues that matters to you. Community engagement. We are breaking right through. One-on-one with the CEO, Ernest Gibson. So mark your calendar. Don't let the time slip away. Every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Join us today. One-on-one with the CEO. Dynamic and bright. Stay informed with Hartview News, your guiding light. What a pleasant way to say good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever the time zone is. It's a way to welcome you to your most informative and authentic program that gives you the opportunity to know what's happening around you and getting your views on those issues that matters. In today's edition of the program, one-on-one with the CEO, Ernest Gibson, we'll be looking at President Boakai's State of the Nation's address. It is very important that we dissect the issue and you gave your own perspective about the president's message. I'm here. My name is Rufus Divine Cannon from Liberia, and the CEO Ernest Gibson is in the US. CEO, how you doing?
Rufus, something very great. Thank you for having me. Thank you for this show. Man, gosh, we had a lot to talk about today concerning the president's speech and what's going on and the boycott of the justice, ministry and a lot of things happening. But I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's always good having these conversations. This is centered around Liberia and its growth, most especially citizens listening to the president today on his State of the Nation address. There are lots of information filtering on the social media and on the torrential radio and television about the president's message. You have the opposition saying what they have to say, you have those within government saying what they have to say. The imposition, no position, opposition, everyone do have their own part to say as it relates to the president's message. But again, as a very, very, very independent institution, we're going to dissect the issue, make sure to talk about those things that matters and get the people to speak for themselves. We are not the mouthpiece. What we normally do here is to create the enabling environment so that they get to talk on those things that matters. You and I can say, hey, we have bread on our table, but what about the lady who's down in the West Point? What about the guy who is in River Queen, Grand Bassa County, and other counties around here? They have their own share of the cake. With the message the president delivered to the state today, they have their own share. Whether the president was saying the truth or not, they know what they are going through. They feel the pinch from the shoes that they are wearing.
And I agree with you so much, uh, Maurice, that our citizens, our
Rufus,
people. I'm sorry, Rufus. Where is
you think
Maurice?
your worries now?
Thank you, Rufus. Thank you for correction. And I believe and I do agree with you that the people themselves feel the pinch within the shoes of what the situation in Liberia people are going through. A lot of traumatic situation. In fact, no food, no hunger. I've been receiving a lot of calls from just friends and neighbors and people in Liberia of the current situation, the financial circumstance, and how can we be a help to them in providing some type of financial situation. People going to bed tonight with all food, and the president giving a unique to him, a unique SONA, what we call the State of the Nation's address, presenting to the Liberian people. But my goal here is for us to look at not just the future, but for us to look at the past and see what the government has done and what they plan to do. Not just the address, but the actual things that are on the ground. And Rufus, uh, I cannot tell you that I so agree with you when you said the pinch of the people, the shoes that they are wearing right now, and it breaks my heart to know that our people are going through a lot of situations, and those are things that I really want us to look at from the president's address, nation's address, or state of the nation's address, and to the people's current situation. What are the realities on the ground? Is it the president's address to the nation, or is it what the people are currently going through and how the needs are not being met?
Yeah, just to summarize the president's message today in a book, the president began by giving his thanks and appreciation to the various stakeholders, including government officials, international partners, and the citizens of Liberia at large. He emphasized the importance of unity and collaboration in upcoming national challenges. When it comes to the state of the nation, he spoke lengthily. He talked about, indeed, he acknowledged that the state of the nation is not as desired, citing significant issues such as poverty, a drug epidemic, corruption, poor infrastructure, and an underperforming economy. He reframed these challenges as opportunities for a new journey towards hope and development. When it comes to his vision for development, the arrest agenda, the president stated that the arrest agenda that has to do with agriculture, road, rule of law, education, sanitation, and tourism as a guiding framework for Liberia's medium-term national development plan. He stressed the need to harness opportunities in these areas to reverse economic downturns. When it comes to the economy, as it relates to challenges, the president highlighted concerns regarding the economic growth, which slower from 8 point, that's 4.8% in 2022 to 4.6% in 2023. He pointed out rightly that the influence rose to 10.1% at the end of December 2023 and discuss budgetary issues with revenue collection falling short against expenditure. The president also went further to state that he's committed to introducing legislation aimed at fostering sustainable economic growth and job creation. He emphasized, as he said, he shift for resilience on primary commodities exposed to value addition through private sector engagement. In terms of empowerment, the president talked about empowerment through ICT and entrepreneurship. President Boakai announced plans to train up to 10,000 young people in digital skills within the first half of 2024 as part of efforts to create jobs and empower entrepreneurs in Liberia. To conclude all of what the president said, he reinstated the importance of unity amongst Liberians in perceiving peace and security while acknowledging past sacrifices made for the democracy. He expressed confidence that with collective effort, Liberia can overcome its challenges. So, in summary, that's the president state of the nation he delivered today to the Liberian people.
Rufus, that was good analysis and good breakdown of the president's speech. And what I would like for us to do for our listener tonight is for us to take every piece of the speech that you have dissected and listed, so we can go to them through them one at a time, and at the same time be cautious of our time and make the show uh, very short. So that was a good assessment of overrun of the president's speech. So we should be having other panelists online, and they are trying their best to get connected. But so that I want us to address them one at a time again. So, what are the highlights? What are some of the things you want us to talk about right now? Because there are a couple of questions I want to also address on when it comes to those analysis or breakdown of president's speech that you just.
For me, when the president spoke about the growth in the economy or the downward trend in the economy, in all of his utterances, he did not really mention or lay emphasis on the issue that has to do with electricity.
Okay.
Electricity is one of those major components that actually bring about economic growth, because you cannot have people coming to the country to invest where you have poor electricity distribution. Like what we are going through now is something that is so terrible. You cannot have a company that wants to come and invest, $1 million company that wants to come and invest, where they will be buying their own fuel, and electricity is not stable. Because when you buy, we who run radio stations, it is so burdensome to actually come true when it comes to what you will get at the end of the day from advertisement and other media activities or media work. All will go towards the buying of fuel. What happens to salaries? So if we have a stable electricity for an affordable cost, Liberians will start to make more investment. Like diasporans, they are coming back home making investment. Like you have some investment ongoing in the country. Why will you want to keep spending money on buying a fuel to keep your investment and other activities when the country should be providing a stable electricity? So anyone who coming to or who wants to come to a country to actually invest in the country, one of the things they look at: security, electricity. And I must tell you for free, over the period of time, I have come to realize that the Liberian politics is centered around electricity. Because you know why? The Liberian politicians know very well when electricity problems are solved, that who say I say, where you must give me power before I do something for you, will come to an end. Liberians will no longer look in the direction of politics, but rather get involved into entrepreneurship, to get, owning their own businesses. They will start to involve themselves into more productivity or productive acts instead of striving towards politics, because politicians want you to always be behind them, chanting the slogans, the battle crowds, and at the end of the day, they give you chicken change. But if you can make your own money, you can invest, and you see the proceed coming from your investment, you want to go waste your time being one politician? No. So electricity, the entire progress of Liberia is centered around electricity. When electricity gets stable in the country, people will not pay attention to politicians. They will start to invest themselves, and will make sure that they are empowered to the extent that politicians will just look like some crap before them. When they come with a riches, I'm making $1,000 in few hours. And you coming to me and say you give me $20, I'm gonna go stay online for you to chant slogan for you to make you popular. That waste of time, because I know time that money. The hours I'm gonna stand behind you to chant slogan and you give me $20. If I sit behind my water box and selling my water with my stable current, I make more than that money. I won't follow you. So the politicians will do all they can to play the politics around electricity. Government come, government go. Even the predecessor of this regime, the Weah government, even the Ellen government, they all played the politics with the Liberian people electricity. And at the end of the day, when the time came to exit, they exited and left the same old problem. This electricity is something is an old age thing, and the progress of Liberia is tied within electricity. So that's why politicians know very well when electricity gets stable in the country, people will no longer value them to the extent where they are being valued now.
And
So
and and, and
the president did not lay emphasis on how electricity is going to be stable, how they're going to work towards this to curb these issues. So that's my
and,
own
and
side.
And Rufus, the president has nothing to say when it comes to electricity, but we need to understand that electricity is the health and safety of every nation, every institution. We hear from the diaspora, and we talk to a lot of people, a lot of investors who want to come, who want to bring investors to Liberia, and but they are afraid because the country is not so much a safe, but they don't have stable electricity, and nobody wants to come and invest into a country that the government is trying to renovate a dam that has been in more than 100 years ago. Instead of building something new and providing, we are depending on Ghana, who just got the independence when we, Liberia, fought for the independence of Ghana, and we depend on Ghana to supply our country with electricity. And so the president spoke about that, but I can guarantee you, and I can say to this, that the president had nothing much to say when it came to the electricity, because they have nothing they have done so far when it comes to electricity. And that's the problem, that people are not safe. I'm going to show you this. Let me show you this picture. I was just on today talking to some health workers, which of course, I'm not going to call the name, and I'm going to tell you where they're from and how to send me these pictures, because the government is after just suspending people who talk against the government but talk in reality. And so this is a health facility right now. If you can see this picture,
Just very poor. Wow.
it's right now in Liberia. I just got these photos today, and the health administrator refused to come on the program, which of course they wanted to come, but they refused because they do not want to be targeted by the government. This is a health facility. What the president spoke today and said that they have supplied all the health facility with drugs and materials. But the person heard this speech and they sent me this photo, said, no, that's not true, because our facility is out of drugs. We are out of a lot of things. See, the roof here is falling apart and breaking down. They have sent this photo to the government. They have sent it to the Ministry of Health. They have made a lot of follow-ups, and nobody is responding. They will send just pieces of drugs medication, and after a day the medication is over with, and the president said they have supplied everywhere. Now, besides this, so this is where they store the drugs. Can you imagine? The president said they have supplied drugs, but see how the place is empty. Let's go to the next picture I received. See, there is no electricity. We just talk about electricity. Now this is where they store the drugs, the medication, Rufus. And look, there is no, and these medication some of them need to be refrigerated. They need to be cool. There's an electric, but you see the whole place is dark. And the person was taking the picture tonight, and they were using the picture. I mean, the flashlight or the light from the phone to take this. No electricity. But these are where this will be storing the drugs, the medication for a whole facility in Liberia. No electricity. And that's another, I have a lot I can actually see this place. See how horrible it is. It's a facility right now in Monrovia. In Liberia, that is providing treatment to people. But see, the whole place is empty. No medication, nothing. The administrator said when the people come to this facility, They don't have medication, so they have to send people outside to buy medication because they don't have. But the president said today in his speech that the health center has received medications and they are getting the support. So what do we make of that based upon the photos I just showed you and the administrator who sent these information to us? That's part of them being afraid to come on the show because they do not want to be targeted by the government.
Now it's so appalling. If I were the president, I will actually suspend or sack these able lieutenants because everything that the president stated today came from his able lieutenant. They gave him updates. They updated him on the operations from the various landlines, ministries, and agencies. So if I were the president, I would make sure to have these people fired because that in itself is bringing him to public ridicule. And more to that, as a president, I will also borrowed the attitude by visiting these ministries and agencies on notice, not giving prior notice. Go and see for yourself. Go in the field. Visit these areas like the late former president Samuel Doe, as he was referred to as one of the illiterate leaders Liberia ever had. He was time conscious and he played a role in his leadership that all of his cabinet ministers, they were time conscious because he will visit your institution without telling you that he's going there. Like tomorrow, he just gets ready, he go and visit the information ministry to see he's going to work from the information ministry that day, to see what is happening there at the information ministry, to get the first-hand information, not third party. President Boakai needs to.
But Rufus not cut you. Rufus not cut you off. At this point in time, do we blame the president or do we blame the minister of health?
The president have his share because if he were playing a role wherein leaving his comfort zone and visiting these areas for monitoring and evaluation, he will not just take any flying sheet that was sent to him to come and deliver on the affairs of the health of the Liberian people. That's why monitoring and evaluation is very important. As a station manager, sit here and my able lieutenant just go in the field and do what they can do, and then come to me with paper. Then I come and deliver it to you. You know what I'm doing there? At the end of the day, when you, as the CEO, go out to do some fast finding, what I've presented to you is far different from the reality. I become a liar. And the trust and confidence imposed in me will definitely go sour. So the president has a share in this. He needs to leave his comfort zone because our Liberian politicians, they will do all they can to give you all of the sugar-coated words. Oh yeah, Mr. President, everything is okay. Oh yes, it's okay. But what you as a leader doing to monitor, to know as to whether what these people are saying is about the facts? Are you taking up the time to listen to the radio? Sometimes you got your leisure time. Go while driving your way to work. Tune into one station from one station to the other. Though the media is so toxic these days, but give keen attention. Listen to the various institutions, the radios, view the television, read the newspaper, and see what's happening there. The Liberian people are speaking out.
Right.
The Liberian people are speaking out through these mediums. They do not have any means to get to you. So when a radio station have a show, they open the lines, the Liberian people speak out. Though we have some media institutions that are so toxic and all they do is to rain insults and stuff like that, but you can listen, take up the time, drive in one community. Say today, my people, I'm visiting this community. No minister, no deputy following me to show off that you're working. No. Go there and say, yeah, my people say they're working here. Let me see the work my minister of agriculture doing. Let me see the work my minister of labor doing. Let me see the work that my public work minister doing. That's monitoring and evaluation. So if they bring in paper to you, you already know the reality on the ground because you are meeting the people, the beneficiaries. You will have a first-hand interaction with those beneficiaries. Now you are providing, there's something in communication, that's a channel in communication called the beneficiary communication. You have the aid provider, you have the communicators in the middle, and you have the beneficiaries. So what happened here, the beneficial communication strategy here is this. Whatever the aid provider wants to get over to the beneficiaries, he channel it through the communicators. The communicators will go in the field and gather the raw data. What are those things that you guys are liking here? What you think that when the government or the aid provider can do to solve this problem? Then they channel it, go and dissect the issue, get the information to the aid provider, and then the aid provider will send down whatever needs or whatever wants they have that was listed through the communication team. So this is another thing. The information ministry, they need to play a pivotal role. They need to play a robust role because this is where the president or the leadership becomes a leadership that may fail or will succeed. Information dissemination. You are not only there to defend the government. You are there to provide information to the president, and those information that you are providing should be authentic. And not that, oh yeah, the Liberian people let you. But at the end of the day, when the reality fades in, it's quite different. That's why you see it brought the downward, the defeat of the CDC-led government. Because information dissemination was not taken seriously. Everyone was just speaking. So the rightful information was not reaching the president. All he felt it was when he called, oh yeah, Fagon. Oh yeah, everything okay, Mr. President. Oh yeah, Eugene, yeah, everything okay. You call the other lecturer, yeah, everything okay. But the reality show face on the day of election because the Liberian people were speaking, and the things the Liberian people were speaking about were not taken to the president for him to have a listening ear to act upon them. So President Boakai needs to learn from the mistakes of a predecessor. If you just have a bulk of people sit at the information ministry only to defend him or to defend the government actions or to defend whatever the government does, trust me, 2029 will be the repeat of the 2023 elections if care is not given. In every given society, even in relationship, you don't play with communication. When you and your wife or your fiancé not communicating adequately, there comes in misinformation. And when misinformation takes center stage, it brings about division because they both are not understanding each other. You're not on the same path. But if you are communicating adequately, you have, though you have issues, but the issue will not be as grave as when you are not communicating adequately. So the president needs to put his feet down. He needs to visit, leave his comfort zone. It's just his first year. He needs to go all out. He got balance 4 more years. Practically. The Liberian people are crying. The same thing, like people are witch hunting. We talk about witch hunting in previous government. We still see these things happening. When you speak out, saying the truth, oh, certain people feel offended. So they go after you and wanting to take you off the job. But not knowing.
So let me cut you off. Let me cut you off there, Rufus. Talking about the witch hunting, because in the president's speech today, he called for people from the other side of the aisle. He's been calling for unity. But you just talked about witch hunting, and within a week, two of the people in government from the opposition party, from Prince Johnson's party, were suspended, and they were asked to. In fact, the job had been terminated from directive of the president, to be specific. So, but now the president is calling for unity. Do we classify that as unity? Or if you speak, like I said, we have some administrators from the health institutions in Liberia who wanted to come on our show, but they were afraid to say, listen to me, CEO, right now we got to talk for our lives and our family, because if we ever came on your show and try to criticize the president's speech, we will lose our job. And losing our job. So what do you make of that? Is that unity, or because the president called for unity today from other people from the other side of the aisle? So do we call that unity or disunity?
We when we talk about unity in diversity, we shouldn't be having cosmetic speeches, and our actions is quite different from what we say. You say, let's come together, kapao, kapao, let's come together. Then in reality, you're doing different things. So that's why I said the president needs to step down, put his feet on the ground, and get to know some of these things for himself. His able lieutenants are not proceeding well. They are doing business as usual. A lot of them doing business as usual. Because in previous government, they were witch hunted. So they said, our time, we'll do our own too. Like you talk about people being relieved of the job at the labor ministry. We saw the guy who spoke, the youth chair for Prince Johnson, the late Prince Johnson party, MDR. He spoke. The next thing, he had to apologize for the way in which he spoke. And later on, we saw him receiving a letter terminating his services at the labor ministry. Another person we saw from the opposition at the maritime, he was also laid off his job since last year, the 19th of December. For what reason? If you have these people who are competent and occupying positions, because of their stance on some of the things that are happening within the government, when they speak, it becomes an issue. Though the code of conduct is the guide for every civil servant or everyone who works in government. But let us understand, when these things are spoken of, they say giant and people in there. Go and sit and ask yourself, are these things not the reality? Most of these things that people speak about, they are reality. But we add too much politics to our things, to the extent that when we are told the truth, we see it as something that is so tearing apart. We wouldn't want people to praise sing. Oh yeah, the man should praise sing. Yeah, when the man praising me, yeah, then they are a good leader. But when the man see the wrong thing and tell you, say, oh chief, they want it wrong, let us not proceed in a form of manner, then you take offense. So these are things that are happening. So the president needs to put his feet down and go after these things, that because if he continue to just sit in a comfort zone, these people at the end of the day will misleading. And a lot of the people you see in government, they are seeking their personal interests. They have political interests. They go after, they do these things to make themselves look better and pin the government, the same government work in black, because they want that government to leave so that they can take state power. Some of them want to be president. Some of them want to be vice president. Some of them want to be BBP ministers. Some of them want to be representatives, senators. So they will do things that will make them look like they are angels, while the government will be put on the negative radar. So the president needs to put his feet down. Some of the same people in your own office, they are double dipping. So he needs to be very careful and be proactive. Let him take on the M&E posture, monitoring and evaluation. I heard people that come to you that you just, oh yeah, that you go after these papers. Go and see what the guys are doing. Morris, welcome.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Rufus.
you. Thank you, Rufus, and thank you for welcoming Morris, because I was just going to chip Morris in. Morris is one of our international correspondents, all the way from in the foreign land, and he's one of our panelists. Morris, we're trying to talk about the part of the president's speech today, and one of the things he talked about, he called for people from the other side of the aisle to come together so they can unify the country. And he was talking about unification within his speech. But we realized in a week's time, the president was able to terminate by his instruction two government officials who just made a statement at Prince Johnson's funeral, who were representing the client, representing the people, and they made a speech, and then they fired them, they terminated the services with the government just by speaking at the funeral. Do we call that unity, as the president is calling for unity, or do we classify that as disunity within the government?
Well, thank you so much, Ernest, and thank you, Rufus, for the deliberations for the both of you guys. I think Rufus laid some premises concerning the code of conduct. Every government, when every government comes up, they comes up with their own thing, and of course, those laws and things they use it to govern their own people within their circle. The code of conduct, I'm not too sure, but I think it should be out of Section 5 or somewhere that talks about when you're in a circle of government, or when you are in government, you do not speak against the government openly. So let's say it in this way. Some of those criticisms are meant to make the government strong. And I think as a government, even though the code of conduct is there to govern, or to guard government officials, I think sometimes when these people make these statements, perhaps they have talked behind closed doors, and then nothing seems to be happening. So sometimes people get frustrated and they just come out and then make these statements because probably they have spoken with their bosses, they have called for several meetings, or maybe nobody's giving their attention. So they use the same code of conduct against these same people, and to go after them when they speak, and against the same government that they are part of. But one thing I want to say is, if you are part of an institution, you agree with rules and guidelines that govern that institution. Yes, it is good to speak against the government, but once you find yourself within the government, if you speak against the government openly, the government or the president will see you as an anti to the same government that you serve. So all I can say to these people is, if you want to say something to the government, or if you want to say things that are hurting you, and things that are not going right within the same government that you serve, it is always good to push forward to ensure that whatever you think is necessary to be done for that government, or within the government, to make the government to be, the kind of a government that the people need, keep pushing. But you cannot dress the same baker and bring a baker outside to undress it.
Okay, but let me cut you. Let me cut you, Morris.
Yeah, let me just lay. I'm not coming back. Dismissing these people too. Also, I wouldn't say it's a good thing. As a president or as a leader, if these people within the government still come out to speak, you should know that these people, they are hurt, or they are trying to do something, or they are trying to put you for the sake of your own government to succeed. So sometimes you just close your blind eyes on them like you don't know what they are saying. After they finish speaking, you call them and say, look, gentlemen, I understand what all you guys said, but I think we have to take these steps. But please, let's not disgrace ourselves. We can't be in the same government and disgrace ourselves. Instead of you firing them or dismissing them, I don't see that as a good governance.
Because I was about to say, are we insinuating that if because I'm in government and if the government is doing wrong, I cannot speak against you wrong? I know I live here in the United States of America. I currently work with the local government. I currently work with the, with the government here in the United States of America, my North Dakota. And so while I work with the government, but if I see that the government is, is not doing what is right, and I'm liberty to speak my heart. I'm not just criticizing them, but I want the government to do good. But it's the opposite in some African countries, especially Liberia.
That's what I was just about to tell you. The US is democracy is different from Africans, especially Liberia. In the US, you have your free will. Let me tell you something, Agnes. You see, our constitution has a lot of things that are good. But sadly, we are not practicing what are those things in the Constitution, that freedom of speech and thing. In your country, in the United States, you can be in the government, you still speak against the government, and it becomes something normal. But in Africa, most especially in Liberia, when you're in government, you speak against the government, the first thing they go to is the code of conduct. So if you want to speak against the government, then one of the things you can do is you resign from the government. That's the only way you can speak against the government. But once you speak against the government, why in the government sees you as an enemy.
But
you feel that you are an enemy already.
But do we say that those two individuals that were laid out from the government, did they speak against the government at Prince Johnson's funeral?
Whatever speech they gave, I did not see reason for you dismissing those people as a leader. You don't dismiss anyone just because they spoke on at a funeral and they express themselves. You don't do that as a leader. I think that's bad. Because the first thing is, everyone has their right to express themselves. So if the man expresses himself in a way that demeans the government or makes the government look ugly, I think it's good that you call the guy, you call those people and say, let's sit down and around a table and discuss how we can move the government forward. We cannot be moving the same government forward. Then we the same people bringing the government to public ridicule. Instead of you firing them, for me, that is off. That is completely off track. All right. So it has been happening in the past government. It happened in the past government. People were kind of like witch hunting. That's how we call it in Liberia, witch hunting. Even if the person does wrong and you fire them, they still consider it as witch hunting. So if the person does not do any wrong and they speak and you fire them, people still consider it as witch hunting. But it happened in the past government, and they see United Party government criticize that. The same thing they're trending on today, they criticize that everybody got right to speak. They forgot that the code of conduct, the CDC were using the code of conduct, and they criticize that. Now the United Party is in power, and then they see people speaking against the United Party for ills that they are seeing, and they are firing them. So it seems to me like people only say things when they are outside of government, but when they get in government, then everything changes. That's how Liberia's problem is. You say that it is wrong. You said it was wrong yesterday, and the president who did it did wrong by doing what he did. But now you come back, when somebody speaks against the government, you fire them. That's wrong governance. The very first thing is, some of those people, around the president, they really don't like the president. Like Rufus said, they don't like the president. Because in our society, when anybody who tells you the truth, and just know that person loves you. Those people who sugarcoat everything, they are people that want to see your downfall. Solid, it is not like that in Liberia. And for President Boakai, I believe that he's not someone who wants to contest in 2029. I think he should be taking a drastic action or taking several actions against people that are not doing the right thing in government. It is not about you going to funeral service and speaking against or expressing yourself and then you be fired. People who are being corrupt and they are being indicted, or people who are being accused for corruption, they should be telling them to say their side or either firing them. why they going for investigation. But the very first thing they will tell you that they wouldn't fire anybody because the person has not been found guilty. But yet some of those people who have been accused of corruption are still in the positions and things. So you're keeping people who are being accused for corruption in their very positions, but yet you're firing people who just express themselves at a funeral. You know, so for me, I don't see that as unity. If you talk about government inclusion, which government inclusion? When somebody who is serving your government comes and even talk about their own party, you go against them. That's not government inclusion. You take people from political parties, yes, that's one step of the inclusion. But if the person speaks out, you fire them. So you just pretend like you're doing government inclusion, but it is not being used the way it's not being seen the way we ought to see it. So for me, I don't see that as a unity. It creating more problem, and trust me, Ernest, after Unity Party government, a CDC happens to take state power next election year. Some of those same people that Unity Party employ, the CDC will start going after them. They might be going after them. You can't run a country like that. How can we succeed in Liberia? If I take state power, I fire everybody that came through the Unity Party. A Unity Party comes to state power, I start firing everybody who came through the CDC. And those people are Liberians, regardless of which party. Everybody can be for Unity Party. Everybody can be for CDC. You know? So maturity is when somebody in your government and they speaks against the government, still you leave them in that position. Then people will say, yeah, this is a government. They don't have time. You know, they don't have time who speaks against them or who doesn't speak against them. But if somebody just say X and you fire them, you dismiss them for that position, where are we going?
That's a good point. That's a good point, Morris. And I hope Rufus can come back on, because what I want to talk about right now, let's jump to the next topic. What I want to talk about right now is the boycotting. Morris, where you going? Morris, are you there?
Mark, we will definitely come. I think you want to make some adjustment.
Right. What I want to talk about today is the boycott of the Supreme Court. Now you see all the Chief Justice's seat. I just posted this picture. All the Chief Justice's seat are vacant, not occupied. When the president was speaking today, the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice, and everybody boycott the president's address. Boycott all the seats were empty. Nobody attended. What message does that send to the government and send to the president?
For me,
it tells you there is this unity. There is this unity. The government, the Liberian government now has two speakers. Fonati Kofra is still being considered as speaker by one group. Richard Kuhn is still being considered as speaker by another group. You have a government with two speakers. You have a country with two speakers. It is troubling for Liberia. It is seriously troubling. Even those people who are, so anxious for the speakership. Come on, man. Think about Liberia. So to see the people from the judiciary boycotting, it tells you that something is not right. Our country is not proceeding rightly. The president was compelled to have gone to deliver his SONA today because he feels compelled, and by constitution, he has to do that by constitution. But he knows that things are not okay. Things are not okay. So you can't have a country with two speakers. That's why those same people who you saw boycotting, they are the same people that render, judgment that render that opinion that left the entire country in misunderstanding. Nobody knows who's right, who's wrong.
But this is where I was coming to before Rufus comes in. I'm going to post this picture again. As the seats have been emptied today, this is today's picture. What the judges should have been sitting for the president's speech, but it's all empty now. But the president was addressing today. He said, Madam Senate Temperate, Vice President, and Speaker of the House. He addressed the Speaker. And Richard Kuhn was sitting in the Speaker's seat. So are we seeing that the government has recognized Richard Kuhn as a speaker in this House of Senate. I'm sorry, but the judiciary are saying no, we cannot come there because Richard Kuhn is not the speaker. I think that's the only reason why they boycott that today.
Ultra virus. When it's Supreme Court use that word ultra viral, ultra virus, VIRES, meaning go back to the same process that you passed, those same processes that you use to elect your speaker. If you want to be a speaker, or if you feel that you have the number to ensure that this man is not your speaker again, go back in that same procedure and do it. They did not listen. Other than say, the Supreme Court said the majority bloc was right and this, that. That's why you saw that could be the reason for which the people boycotted. Because if you can respect their opinion, what's the essence? An executive is doing business with the speaker. You know that the budget and thing they've been going to the speaker, right? To the majority bloc, right? Because the executive recognizes the speaker, their new speaker from the United Party, it could be problem for which the judiciary say, okay, say these people want to run the government their own way. Let them go and present their SONA, they and a speaker. Have you seen it in our history before? On such occasion, for you to see those seats empty? Have you seen it before? If you guys have seen it before, for me, I haven't seen it before. Maybe I was born yesterday, but I haven't seen that before. Yeah, probably I was born yesterday, but I haven't seen that before. So it tells you that something is not right. The country, for each time I think about, how can a country be having two speakers? How can a country be having two speakers? Why these people are so anxious for power? They are not even thinking about the country's, or reputation. People not thinking about the country's reputation. They only think about what they can have as speaker or deputy speaker and what have you. So Rufus, honestly,
let me just make a point there. For the Chief Justice, she did not boycott. She had an engagement, international engagement, for which she attended. If you use the word, when you use the word boycott, I will send that to the rest of the justices because they were in country and did not attend. So they boycotted, and not the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice.
Rufus, as you continue, what is so much important to go and attend when the Chief Justice, when your president is deliberating and you have to be there? What is so much important than you outside of the country than you not listening to the president's deliberation? And it's part of your function as the Chief Justice.
And another thing here, one we weigh in on is the day for the final ruling in today's speaker's case. Should have been today. The court should have ruled into the case today. And by those, the Chief Justice and Associate Justices attending such a function would have legitimized or undermined their ruling. It would have spoken volume that whatever the persons at that SONA has clearly identified Mr. Richard Kuhn as the legitimate speaker.
So what are you saying, Rufus? Let's go to the point.
I'm looking at
it our listeners, for our listeners and our viewers. What are you saying?
I'm looking at it two ways. They avoided the process to save themselves from what we call criticism or biasness. Because you can say you want to rule into something, your two children brought a case to you. Say, oh, our man, this is what Johnny did. Okay, Yaja way. I will tell you what it means. Then Doodoo Boy having a own birthday party, knowing that Doodoo Boy and Mary Girl got confusion, and you sort of ruin that case. Then you the man now, you go to Doodoo Boy own a party. Why you trying to tell Mary Girl that you are siding with Doodoo Boy? So whatever you come out to say, whatever you come out to say
You
to
journalists
in
and
that case,
politicians,
Doodoo Boy will feel offended. Doodoo Boy will not accept it because your action have already spoken volume.
You agree with me? You agree with what I said, that there's a problem for which they did not attend.
Rufus.
There is
Let's go.
a problem. Morris.
Rufus, give me 1 minute, please. Give me 1 minute, please.
Uh-huh.
Give me 1 minute, please. Let's go straight to the point because of our viewers and our listeners. I don't want to beat around the bush. Are you saying to us today, let's be on the record, are you saying to us today that the SONA was boycotted by the judiciary, by the Supreme Court, or not even whoever it may be, because they don't believe in the speakership of the current speaker that the president addressed?
They want to save face.
And when you say save face, what do you mean?
They have a ruling on hand and not wanting to bring themselves to public ridicule. So they abstain from the process.
Okay, so you have the right to your opinion. I would just say I sincerely believe that the boycott happened today because they don't believe in the lead that the president and his government is taking. They are contrary to the rule of law. They have spoken. They have to go. It's antivirus. They have to go back to start over and start the process. And the government is taking side with Richard Cohen and his current leadership. And in fact, they had him posted today residing over the State of the Nation's address. He presided. Regardless
Let me tell you this. The reason for which you see our Fonati Kofra, did he attempt the SONA?
No,
he didn't attempt. And I think he did that very maturely because it would have been of serious controversy that you see Fonati Kofra there. And it would look so bad to say someone like Fonati Kofra to say, I'm going to preside. He wouldn't force his way. He let Richard Cohen, who thinks that he has become legitimate speaker by voting him, by colleagues voting him, he allowed him to do what he wanted to do. Because the country is in a serious problem. Why if Fonati Kofra would have said, no matter what happens, I'm still the speaker, I haven't resigned, and these guys did not elect the person that they call the speaker the right way, so I'm going at the SONA and I'm going to preside. He would have seen that the entire world attention was going to be on us today. So he played it.
Before I cut you folks off, Rufus, I know we have listeners who may want to call in. Can we post a number online? Let's give them the opportunity from Liberia. Oh no, I thought someone was calling it already, but it's not a number. Let's give the opportunity from Liberia and anywhere in the US. If anybody want to call, those are our WhatsApp number. Please call into the show. You're going to be live. Give us your contribution. The line is now open. You can call us on our WhatsApp number. If you call it from outside of the US, you can call +1 215 485 2276. If you call it from Liberia, you can call 077 037 8566. And you're going to be live on our talk show. We want to hear from you, and we're trying to address the president's State of the Nation address. We really want you to call into the show. Again, you can call 215-485-2276. That's a WhatsApp number. If you're in the US, you can call it direct. If you're outside of the US, you can call it as a WhatsApp number. You just have to add +1. In Liberia, you can call 0770 378 566. The line is now open, and we want to hear from you if you want to participate in today's discussion. Thank you so much, followers and viewers, and participation. It's because of you. Your participation is because of you we are here. Continue, Rufus. Sorry for me cutting you off.
Interestingly, Mr. Gibson, these minority bloc members. We're talking about legitimacy. Are you aware that budget that was passed by the Coons bloc, which is referred to as the majority bloc, monies emanating from that passage of the budget, members from the minority bloc still receiving their salaries, their normal benefits, under the illegitimate passage, quote unquote illegitimate passage of that budget. They're receiving the money. They're
So you
receiving the
want,
benefit.
you want the people to say it is not their money? The people working, they are doing their work.
Hello,
So
they're
they shouldn't
receiving the
receive their
money.
salary?
Morris, wait now. They're receiving the money. They're receiving all of the benefits that come. But they're saying that the man leadership is not legitimate. If it is not legitimate, there's nothing down there. Whether you working, the guy, how you call this, retroactive payment. Since you know very well this man leadership is not legitimate, whatever that comes from his leadership is not legitimate.
So are you telling us that they have to refuse the salary?
Yes, because the budget that was passed is not legitimate. It's not from a legitimate background. So anything that has to do with that leadership, it should be null and void. Whether I pay, don't take it. When the real process comes to reality, they'll pay you retroactively.
But my question is the pay constitutional that they have to pay them, or it doesn't have to reflect into the budget because they are elected and they work for the people. So the pay should be constitutional. So they have legitimate rights to the pay. I'm not sure the pay have to reflect the budget before they get paid or not.
The pay is also in the budget.
Okay.
So anything that has to do with the budget, if the wrong people pass the budget, it's not legitimate. So why should I take money that is not clean? It's just a BM. A BM went and do somebody. He goes to do somebody and bring the tithe to the church. And the church say we shouldn't get involved with corruption. But the pastor take all money. He said, yeah, we got the man bring a tithe. He should refuse it.
I think that's too different. Comparison. But I would just
accept similarity because the issue here is that the money is not clean. The money has some stain on it. So I should refuse it. And knowing that when the ratings are done, we have a process that the pay will be retroactive. Meaning whether I 8 more until my pay for, the day the rating is done, they will give me all that 8 more plus the new month I work for.
Okay, folks, we have limited time left. Let's move to the next topic. The president spoke today about the increase of the budget, and under the budget, he talked about agriculture. Agriculture has been increased. Let's look at the last year, 12 months. What have the president done? What have they done agriculturally for the country when it comes to our stabilized food? But now they are increasing the budget. Let's look at it yesterday and let's look at it today. Is there any significant difference that we have made in the agriculture for the budget to be improved? What can we show that the country has done when it comes to our staple food, rice, maybe cassava, whatever they are done, farming? What agriculture? What type of impact the government has done in when it comes to the past 12 months on agriculture for them to increase the budget 20 times as than ever before?
Say 20 times. They said, what's the budget?
Have been increased. The president spoke today. He never gave the amount, but he said the budget been increased almost twice as ever before. And so what have they done in the past to increase it twice when it comes to agriculture? I know the
Well,
president does. I know the president does have some type of farm. I know the vice president has some type of farm. I was seeing that the agriculture is just based upon the personalities and the personal farm.
for me, I
It's
wouldn't want to
the same
go into it.
nationwide.
I wouldn't want to go in depth because I haven't seen that budget, and I can't remember exactly the line of agriculture in the last budget. But all I wish is whatever increment is made, it is welcoming. I just hope that that particular increment can be implemented through the ministry itself, so that uh, our people back home can be able to do their best, because I believe Liberia can feel herself. The full insecurity thing that we've been discussing over the years and been asking other people for aid all over the world, Liberia got a very good soul. And I noticed that some part of 2-3 years back ago, the Ministry of Commerce, the Ministry of Agriculture, I was on that team. Uh, we were carrying on some training around in several counties. Nima County is one of those counties. One of those things that we noticed that is that those farmers, after their production and other stuff, you will notice that they have really been having problem with, relocating their produce from the farm to the market. So farm to market rule has been one of the major issues, and and accessing market has been one of the major issues. So the ministry has been working with partners to ensure that these problems could be solved through a few other projects like the or Star P project that was supported, that have been still being supported, the retrap that the Ministry of Agriculture always talking about, and they've been making some immense contribution and impacts in those areas, but too many things haven't been done. So if the agriculture budget last year was 5 million, for example, and the president say it has gone up to 20 millions, that's going to be okay for Liberia's progress. But if only that particular money is used for the purpose, because sometimes it discourages you to know that money are put into the budget for a specific purpose, and then those same monies are diverted for other things, and or and that just that by one ministry. Sometimes it happens they say, okay, we got a problem, we have to solve the other problem, and this side and the rest of it, and you see money diverting from one place to another place. So if the president has been speaking about agriculture, and everybody knows him to be, farmers and what have
Well,
you.
Rufus,
So now,
Rufus,
now that he has
Rufus.
said,
I mean,
yeah,
not cut off, Morris. Let me give you the figure. I'm going to post it in the chat room. But the budget just for agriculture 2025, it went up to $851.8 million. Agriculture border. I'm talking about $851.8 million in agriculture.
that's
So
great.
my point is, what have they done with the first budget they had in 2024? What have they achieved in 2024
And
for
that's
the budget to go to this far of $851.8 million? That's not a small money we're talking about.
Yeah, but I think I don't know whether I'm so sorry that I did not listen to the SONA because some I had some issues. I think whatever the case is, even if they are not achieve anything last year, 2024, and increasing the budget now, probably they want to achieve what they did not achieve last year. That's why they are increased that budget. So if the CDC, I think the CDC budget, that was the budget that came for last year because the election was held in 2023. So now that the president has increased that budget to up to 800 million, for me, I see it as a boost for agriculture. The only thing is whether it will be used for the intended purpose. Those lapses they had for last year, some of those problems that the agriculture ministry had for last year, if they can settle some of those problems and then start going in depth of those progress that they want to make, I think Liberia can move forward with the agriculture, because agriculture, for one fact, is one of the areas that if Liberia focuses on mind on, we can make, more impact in our country. We can change more things around. The agriculture ministry is a very important ministry in our country. I'm not degrading the rest of the ministries, but the agriculture ministry is one of the big ministries in our country that will do a lot, because our soil is very rich. So if we get 800 million, like you say, if 800 million is in the budget for agriculture, what are they going to, what are the lands there? Where are they putting those 800 millions? Specific areas that are putting those 800 millions are things I would like to, I think I would like to see that budget myself. So before I can even talk more on agriculture.
I will post the 2025 Liberian budget into the chat room. That each one of us will have the opportunity to look at it and see why it is. Rufus, before going to the next subject, do you have anything to say?
No, I'm okay. I'm just okay. Just want our people to be sincere, our leaders to be sincere to the Liberian people, because the Liberian people are their employers. They are our employees. So if we are not sincere as leaders, what happens? It brings about a lot of setbacks. It brings about a lot of things that will serve as a distraction to their leadership and their cordiality with the people who have elected them. We need sincerity. We need a sincere and bold-faced leaders who will stand up for the interests of the people. We say the masses. But when we take these positions, when the power that is inherent in the people according to our constitution are given to these people to represent us, they move the M and leave the rest. So it's about time that those people who are referred to as leaders be selfless for once. Our leaders are selfish. They need to be selfless. Everything is about them and not the people who gave them the power. Yeah.
Okay. Let's move to the next topic. We'll soon be closing. Our time is fast spent. I want us to close because Rivers there is in studio and he has to get out. In the President's State of the Union address today, he talked about openness and integrity. He have said the government is making everything possible to make sure that openness in his government is felt, and which of course the president has been open. Many ministers have been open. He got some people who work with integrity. At the same time, we see that people are not open and their lack of integrity. Some simple example: before the president came to office, he was not even in office yet. Grisby was ordering 5 different vehicles, for the president's office to use. We'll talk about integrity. They're not giving the Liberian people any account of how the money were actually used. We don't know what the vehicles are still within the president's convoy. We heard that. I have not spoken to Grisby on this, so I cannot verify this information. We heard that Grisby's girlfriend, his pregnant girlfriend, was using one of the vehicles in Liberia that was ordered, and the vehicles were given to other people from his side to use. And then we just look at recently the president's, the first lady's office. People, we talk about integrity, people collecting money from people who struck in Liberia in the name of scholarship to send them to Europe and abroad to go to school. And they were all fake. In Nigeria, you can say 419, they were all fake, taking people money. And the first day, all she could do, she said, well, I would just suspend them for 1 month, and then you'll come back to work and get your full salary. After they have taken money from there, and then the first lady's office said that the people's money were paid. But after the investigation, the people's money had not been paid. They still owe the people their money, but she just suspended for 1 month. How do we turn that? Is that what we call openness and integrity, or do we think that the government really need to do more to crack down on people who are just trying to mislead our Liberian people? And give a lot of instances about the fake scholarship too. Besides the presidents of the brought a fake scholarship from Ghana. This Ghana lady came as a pastor, and in fact, when journalists went to ask a question, she had to say, "I turn the camera off. I can answer." And they were molesting the journalists. I don't know what the Rufus were in the interview that time, but they were molesting the journalists, not even ask questions. Is that what we call integrity and openness and transparency?
Ernest, let me tell you something. The reason for which you see the outside world, the Western countries succeed, is because they respect that word they call integrity. It does not mean that America, that people don't steal in America. It does not mean that people don't steal in Europe, that officials of government don't steal in Europe. They do it. They do it. But the kind of way they would do it, you wouldn't even know that people are stealing. And the very first thing is, when people want to talk about integrity, and then people that are surrounding you, that you bring closer to you, if they themselves want to start tarnishing your reputation or painting your office black by their action, I think your action can make people to believe and trust you that you have some integrity. The very first thing that when that thing happened, about that money that the guy extorted from those people for scholarship from the first lady office, Vavi Holmes. I think that Vavi Holmes. In other countries, he was going to be fired because he admitted that he took money from them. In other countries, he's going to be fired. But you see, Liberia is not ready to fight anything. All of that thing you're talking about corruption. Let me be very frank with you. Let me just be very frank with you. President Boakai is going to do his own to come and do another part of development. He will leave the scene today or tomorrow. The next person will come and do that part of the development. But we haven't seen any president since I've been following politics. I haven't seen any president in Liberia's history that meant well for fighting corruption. Corruption is being fought by lip. People just come and say it. People just use that to get into state power. Corruption is not being fought in Liberia. Honestly, if corruption was being fought in Liberia, there are people that are going to be fired. Look, let me tell you, the president has the right, right? The president is given a constitutional right to appoint and to dismiss. Let's agree that people can say you can't fire the man because the man has not been found guilty. But that's a big lie. The president can fire anyone. And if the person goes to the court, and after the court process and the person is found not guilty, the same president can appoint the person. That alone will be a precedent. It will serve as deterrence that this man was not guilty, and the president fired him only because he was being accused. He had to go to court, and then at the end of the day, before he was vindicated from the particular case, and we found out that he was not guilty. He was not guilty before the president reappointed him, because the president has the power to do that. But people feel like if the president fire you today or tomorrow, maybe, Liberia is kind of a short of manpower. That's how people think. And that's what happened in Liberia, because even young people who learn it today, they have been left along the way. Look, the last population or whatever or statistics in Liberia, we used to say 75% of the country's population is made of young people, but I think it's more than 75% now. But if you check the government, people still going to bring 60-year-old, 80-year-old, or people who have served in government for over 60, 50 years, they're bringing them back in government because they feel that the country lacks, and the kind of people that will lead. So people are not ready to fight corruption. People are not ready to fight corruption. There are many accusations that the president should have taken action. He spoke against all of those things, but yet and say the president still sees them as nothing. At the end of the day, you say, okay, let the person go for investigation. Corruption can be fought. It can be fought, and we just let talking every time you come. We'll make sure that corruption will be public enemy. We'll make sure corruption will do this, corruption will do that. At the end of the day, people still being corrupt, and they are there. We're talking about the adequate or machines. They were carrying 255 or 59 machines or 250 machines, for agriculture. And that comes from the President Sako. People misled people. They talk about scholarship with that Ghanaian woman. They allowed the president to go and launch that scholarship. The president. They did not even allow the education minister to go and do that. Neither the deputy minister to have done that. But they allowed the president because they saw it as a political gain. All right, which are good things.
So far,
before at the end of the day, it doesn't come up well. What the president has done? Fire those people who misled you, but they are still there working. They are still there working. They'll see people that misled you, and then when you launch your scholarship that did not work up, at the end of the day, one of your officials came out and spoke about it. He was fired. So why about the people who misled you and they held your hand, they took you to the occasion, you launched that occasion, but yet the occasion did not even materialize? What happened to them? They are still there because maybe they are the best people. And because the way people do politics in Liberia, people are having my political party, Rufus Khan and sponsor A. Ernest Khan and sponsor A. They want to get Ernest Joe, get Rufus Joe. I don't want to fire him because maybe he sponsored my campaign. Say he sponsored my campaign, I can't fire him. So that's how Liberia politics is. Honestly.
Okay, before we end this show, we fast spin right now. Before we end this show, let's, I know maybe Rufus wanted to say something, but let's look at the good, bad, and ugly from the president's speech and from the country as a whole. Is there anything good we can take from the president's speech? Is there anything bad that the country, the government has not done? Is there anything ugly that need to be fixed? And I know someone in government will be listening to us right now, or the Liberian people are listening to us. What are the good, bad, and ugly from this speech today? As we try to wrap up this show.
Like I always say to people, amidst the challenges, there are prospects and gains. And we must recognize the gains as well as the prospects. So the challenges as well. The president talked about state enterprises. I must say kudos to Mo Ali and his team at the LWS, the Liberia Water and Sewer. They are doing extremely well. We have the team doing extremely well, where we used to see feces back in the days all over the place. We no longer see them as they used to. We see constant distribution of pipe-bound water now. They just, within a few days and week to come, they will be replacing the 48 pipe, which of course is a milestone that we all need to appreciate on the part of the LWSC. And there are other institutions that are actually working. Let me say kudos to the Ministry of Education. The Minister of Education is actually doing her best, making sure to reach out. Like I said, as a leader, you must have the first-hand information. Go and experience for yourself. Pay visit to these areas. When you pay visit to these areas, it gave you an informed posture in how to go about your workings. So if you just sit down there, they bring piece of paper to you, some of the stuff that people can bring, update, they are not reliable. I can just sit down in my room and just put some figures together and put some lines together, and at the end of the day, I deliver to you. So it is on you that I'm delivering this thing to do your verification, so that you be on the safe side, to save your face from irregularities and misinformation as well as disinformation. So the president, like I said initially, the president needs to put his feet down, leave his comfort zone, and pay visit to these areas, because these are things that happened in the past. Leadership and former president we did not get listening ears to. When the Liberian people were speaking, they were vetting their angers in so many ways. But his able lieutenant were giving him sugar-coated words, because they know very well that he loved praises, so they were praising him, but forgetting to know that all burden of the proof lies on his head. And when we went to elections, we saw that the party got defeated. And he himself alluded to it, that the votes he got, it was by himself. If it was the workings of his able lieutenant, the Liberian people would have been at peace. The Liberian people would have fed their presence. Some of them, they were nowhere. They were living in zinc shacks. But when they got government positions, they moved out of those same communities that they used to live. They built fence that even covered the roof of their houses. They got in cars that the windshield was so dark. The people no longer have access to them. They were the masses that they came in revenge for. The masses, they removed the M and they left the other ones there. So at the end of the day, these are things that do happen. The United Party-led government They need to try. They shouldn't repeat the same business as usual. Like the president will say, the government is not a government of business as usual. We see a lot of folks misstepping. Some of them going to the extent of temporary with employment, putting people on the listing for employment who are not even competent, removing people, omitting people names from the listing, or because they have some personal interests or issues with those individuals. Those are all things that are saddening. And if the president cannot speak to those things, well, I'm so sad that he might, if care is not given with the next 5 years, if care is not given, he might be a one-term president.
Thank you so much, Rufus, a one-time president, and now we're going to be talking about. I don't know if Morris has anything to say, goodbye and ugly of the government and the president's speech, and then so I can give my final word and we can close, and I will turn it over to the station manager so he can close the program. Morris, do you have anything on the goodbye and ugly about the government, the president's speech, and what is
like
good
I
about the
said,
government, what is bad, and what is the ugly side of the government?
no, the only bad, I mean, not the only, the bad thing that I can talk about right now is uh, the government needs to take some actions against people who are trying to bring them to public ridicule. The president must take action to let people know that he means whatever he says. The president should not allow Liberian people to just wait for him and then he comes on radio or comes on air, just read what he wants to read, talk about corruption, whereby corruption is being practiced right in his face, broad day, and he takes no action. And then at the end of the day, he comes back to talk that he against corruption. Being against corruption is not by mouth, it's by action. So the president needs to take some action. I'm not going to go in depth, or I'm not going to talk about the SONA because, like I told you guys, I did not listen to the SONA, but I just hope that I can listen to the recap of the SONA. But I've been following the trending issues in Liberia, especially with that hospital thing. The president knows that Richard Kuhn is part of his party. I know it's a different branch of government. The legislature is the first branch of government. He has no power, but he is a friend to Richard Kuhn. And if they want the government to be, let me tell you one thing, and there is no way any government you see pushing to have the speaker, the protein, they already have the president, then they have the speaker, the protein. They just don't want check and balance. Even in America, if you see the Democrat wants everything, though people are going to talk against them, but there are certain things that if they push, once they have the power, the majority, or the strength, at the end of the day, it will just go. Whether it is good or not for the country, it will just go. But wherein you see there are different side of the coins, there where check and balance come in, and then the country will succeed. But you have the protein out aligning with the Unity Party, and then the speaker has to be for Unity Party, the president Unity Party. My brother, tell me, man. I know somebody want to say, oh yeah, anything the president send there, I mean, it will just be okay. But mind you, what if the president doesn't send the right thing there? That's how the country is going to be proceeding. So we need the problem that I have read down for Liberia. One of the problems is that particular speakership thing that is shaking the country. It's stalled development, a stalled process in our country for some time, more than 2-3 months. Later on, before I think Fonati Kufa just sat back and allowed them to do what they want to do, and they carried our budget to majority block. How can you have a country you have majority block and minority block? So that's all I want to say for now. I'm not going to deal with the SONA unless I listen to it myself. Maybe we'll come back on Wednesday. I will ask you guys, to allow me to talk a little bit about that.
All right, the speech is part of this. It's going to be up in after this. You can go back into the have access to rewatch the program, and the speech is the beginning of the program. But what I want to say as a close, I'll give my closing statement. I will turn to Rufus as he closes the program. I think that the president gave a wonderful speech today. I listened to the speech from start to finish, even though it was I have to watch it online, and the internet from Liberia, whoever was doing the recording, the internet was breaking in and out, so I could not follow today. But giving a speech is one thing, and the reality of the speech is another thing. And so the speech was good, but the reality on grounds do not reflect the reality of the president's speech. He talked about medications to different facilities, and we were able to talk to different facilities today in Liberia just to make sure they verify that. And it is no, if the same medication will just be few pieces of pills that will not even last them for a week, right? And there is no electricity. Some of the medications to send, we have to be, in a cool area. There's no electricity. The place is hot. The seating of some of the facilities are busted open, and when it's raining within the place. They are keeping the medication, and nothing is being done. So that part of the speech of the facilities being up to date, I'm sure it's not right. I think someone put that in the president's speech for the president to just read that. And like Rupert says, it's one thing to read the speech, but it's another thing to visit, be on the grounds, and see the reality of what's happening. So I try to put a question mark to that part of the speech. When it comes to the integrity, when the president talked about openness and integrity about the government, which of course in his speech today, which of course we gave him, if I can grade him, I will give him maybe 1% of that. There is nothing of integrity that we are seeing of the government so far, especially those who are in ministerial position. There are a lot of complaints. There are a lot of, embezzlement. People can call it stealing, but when you government say embezzlement, there are a lot of corruptions going on, even from the first lady's office down to the lowest office in Liberia. So there are a lot of integrity that is missing. So I honor the president for someone telling him to speak of integrity when integrity is not really seen in the results. The president also talked about audits of the different departments, but most of the audits that have been done, the findings have not been presented to the Liberian people. So we don't know what the audits are all about. Yes, there have been done audits. Whether anybody found guilty, and then in the audits, he said there have been serious mismanagement of resources. So the president spoke today, and he said there have been serious mismanagement of resources from the audit team, but there have been no result to the Liberian people. Whether it's from the finance ministry, whether it's from the president's office, the first lady's office, whose office it is it the speaker's office? It is where it is that they have serious mismanagement, but then you talk about integrity and openness, but still you cannot present to the Liberian people what the results of the audits are. That's what I have another question mark to the president's State of the Nation addressed. He talked about corruption, but gave all the examples of corruption, and those things are not been seen. And it also sends a bad signal to our government that the entire bench of the judiciary, all the seats of the judiciary were empty. One person had to travel out of the country for official or unofficial visit. We still have 4 people back into the country, if not mistaken. What happened that one person could not represent the judiciary branch on that, and it was part of the responsibilities? It sends a bad signal to the government. It sends a bad signal to our international community who is watching, and you have majority of the minority bloc boycotted today the section. I don't have time to show the seats because we're not giving specific seats. That's why. But the minority bloc, a lot of them were absent today from that. So it also sends a signal to the president that yes, his speech sounded to be good to the Liberian people, but the reality is not what the Liberian people having on grounds, and the international community are also watching about what is happening. So I think the government needs to do more. If they don't do more, they are giving CDC, the opposition, the opportunity to regain position in Liberia. I can say this very, 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 very upfront, that if the president Joseph Yuma Boakai would not do what he needs to do to keep the face of his government, he would be a one-time president. And he would give, and he's giving the opportunity now for CDC to take reign. I know there are a lot of other political parties in there, but CDC, George Weah is giving the opportunity to come back. They are forcing George Weah to come back in power. That's what I see from there. And so the president, we have to do more for his integrity, for the record's sake, and for his, for those who are even following him. The president has surrounded himself with people who are just telling him what to do and what not to do. And he's not doing check and balance. Like one of our panelists has said, he's not doing check and balance. And so everything is falling right back on the president. He has to do what they call check and balance for it to go well. So this is my message today to the president and to the Liberian people, that they are watching. They're going through a serious pain, but the president will have to do more. If not, President Joseph Newman Boakai will be a one-time president, and I can tell him this: he will be a one-time president. I admired him before coming to power. I supported him in time past. I would say this, but now it's a no-no. And we never supported the government to come into power and to do what they are doing right now. So there should be check and balance from the president's office. He should know exactly what is going on. If not, I'm sorry, he's going to be a one-time president, and his legacy will be buried for the 6 years in government will be buried, and he will have nothing to show about. And there will be nobody for his family, no matter his children, nobody can represent him, because you leave legacy for the family who's going to follow. If they say, oh yeah, President Joseph Yuma Boakai was a good president, at least some of the people recognize his family members and try to put them in some type of governmental or opportunity, because the president was the vice president and the president was a good person who led the country with integrity, dignity, and respect. But if not, it's not just his integrity. It's the integrity of his family members and those who want to come into politics and come into power. So if anybody from the government is listening, my advice to the president, he has to do some check and balance. Don't listen to what the people around him are saying. He has to make sure it is true before he gave his speech. He has to make sure what is written into the speech are the realities on the ground, and make sure that corruption, he spoke against corruption. And we do expect the president to take drastic action. For someone from the president's wife's office, first lady, who is called into serious allegation and say, I suspend you just for 1 month, come back and get your pay, it's a slap to the Liberian people. It's a slap to the face of those who have been duped. And you losing $4,000 or whatever the amount is, and say, I just suspend you 1 month. And the president needs to take an action. Even if you take an action against the first lady's office, he needs to take an action to make sure that the people know that he's not just biased. He's a fair man, and he's there looking forward for the interests of the Liberian people. Liberia, we love you. May God bless our nation. May God bless the state. May God take us to a place where he wants us to be. Thank you so much for listening, our followers. And because of you, we are here. Please share our show, but take every time you want to. Call in when you have the opportunity. And we are glad that that you follow us today. I want to thank you to my panelists. I want to thank Maurice MacArthur, the man way in the foreign land, who's participating. Rufus Divine, Kenneth, I want to thank you for all that you do to bring in correct information, dissemination of our information to the Liberian community. You are a blessing, you are a source, and I cannot tell you how much we appreciate you. Thank you so much. And again, to our followers, and because of you, we are here. So please follow us, like, and share our show. Thank you. God bless you. God bless our state.
Okay, this is how we conclude today's edition of the program, One-on-One with the CEO, Ernest Gibson. Until we talk to you, God willing, we are here Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. My name is Rufus Divine Khan, and I lead and not follow. First among equals, of course, I'm destined for greatness. Of course, I always leave you this voice. Two things in this life you always will remember for: the problems you create and the problems you solve. And we must take responsibility of two things in our lives: our fortune and that of our misfortune. Do have yourselves a wonderful day. Bye bye.